we've got Ashwani Vaishnaw, the IT and Railway Minister, with us. Thanks, Mr. Vaishnaw, very much for being with us today. You know, we were talking about digitalization. I think you're the best person to actually talk about that. You know, the cynics would say that the more you try and link, for example, DigiLocker with PAN and Aadhaar, it is a way in which you try and expand your tax net. It's a lot more than that, right?
Absolutely, Vishnu, and as Mr. Shah was very rightly explaining, this helps, this really brings out a huge ease of living in people's lives. We have all faced the problems, and see, it's not just me saying. You go to any international forum, the world today recognizes India's digital stack as a very unique thing that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has developed over the last 8 years. It has made a significant transformative change in every citizen's life. The payment system, the health system, CoWIN, each of these stacks are today at population scale and solutions which many of the developed countries don't have that kind of solution. Real-time payment, real-time settlement, imagine at a scale that we are doing, it's not there in any other country, right?
Right.
That's what is actually driving this digitization scheme. Yes, it will bring lots and lots of people into formal economy, and that's a very desirable goal. That's good for the country, that's good for the society, and yes, it will bring a lot of ease in people's life.
I just wanted to ask you, you know, it all sounds fantastic, and you know, if you look at some of the details, for example, digital payments which have shown a 76% increase in transactions in 2022, but then you've got the opposition which is making a couple of points that this budget is futuristic in a sense, which is not necessarily, which is a good thing, but has enough been done to deal with inequality, has enough been done to deal with hunger and unemployment. So if you look at the overall budget, have we missed out on a lot more in terms of social spends?
I'm really surprised if the opposition is saying this. During COVID, when the whole world was reeling under huge, tremendous uncertainties, it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who ensured that 800 million people get right time, they get the food grains, they get all the facilities, they get free vaccination, and people who would have otherwise gone into abysmal poverty are today in good condition. It's Prime Minister Narendra Modi who got Jan Dhan accounts for 40 crore people. It's Prime Minister Narendra Modi who got the Ujjwala scheme where the village households got gas connection. Isn't that inclusive growth? If that is not inclusive growth, then what else would be inclusive growth? Yeah. It is Prime Minister Narendra Modi who's giving Har Ghar Nal Se Jal to crores and crores of families. Imagine the kind of inclusiveness that a tap, I was born in a village, I can understand what is the need for water. Imagine the power of getting a tap water connection in your household, right, in a village. It's phenomenal. Imagine the power of Ayushman Bharat, which prevents people from getting back into poverty if a disease happens in the family. If this is not inclusive growth, then what else is? See, this opposition with its great economists and great people, they brought India to a situation because of their policy paralysis that India became one of the fragile 5 economies when UPA was in power.
Right.
It is Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji who has over the last 8 years brought that fragile 5 category to India is a bright spot, India is a growth engine for the global economy, that kind of situation despite the global headwinds.
Yeah.
That's what, Vishnu, the reality is.
Mr. Vaishnaw, there are global concerns, and this is another point that's been mentioned, that we don't know when the war in Ukraine is going to end. You know, that's just what there are a couple of global economies, big ones, heading into a recession. And these are factors which can actually impact us going forward. Are we completely insulated from those threats, those dangers?
Nobody is ever insulated completely from any global situation. That's a reality. What can we do different so that the global reality doesn't hit us that bad? That's what, if you see, Honorable Prime Minister's clearly thought through initiative of increasing capital investment since 2021 budget from 3.5, he brought it to 5.5 trillion rupees, 5.5 trillion rupees to 7.5 trillion rupees, 7.5 to 10 trillion rupees. Look at the math of this. 10 trillion rupees capital investment basically means in the economy it has an impact of 35 trillion rupees, 35 lakh crore rupees, right?
Right.
60% of this goes to the small and medium sector, right? Imagine 18 trillion rupees going into the small and medium sector, MSME sector. Each 1 crore investment creates about 4 employment in the country. So this 10 trillion rupee investment is going to create roughly, if you compute, more than 1 crore and 20 lakh employment in the country if you look at the multiplier and all of the factors together. This is something which is very important, and this approach is what has saved India from facing the similar situations which the Western economies are today facing.
Sure.
And with today's budget, India will outperform all major economies by a large margin.